All right. Tell me when. Charlie, you sat with me throughout that match. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. We got a clean sheet, 2-0 against Bournemouth. Merry Christmas. What are you thinking?
Yeah, mate, great to be back. Hope everyone had a good Christmas and stuff. Yeah, mate, to be honest, it weren't the best of games, but we haven't won for so long. I was just glad that we got 3 points and we actually looked half decent for a change. That was the big thing for me, just get 3 points and move on to the next game, because right now for us, it's not about how well we're playing, it's just about picking the points up, because we need to close that gap to the top 4.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about closing the gap. That is unrealistic, let's be honest. I mean, we said that's a half-decent performance, and that was against one of the worst teams in the division by quite some stretch. And to be honest with you, we weren't great. They played better than us in a lot of respects. I know people are saying Bournemouth are a bad team, but I said to you many times throughout, they created so many chances just taking the ball off us in that final third, but just doing nothing with it. I mean, if we were playing against a Man City or a better team like that, you understand what I mean. Yeah. I mean, we would have been punished. We could have conceded 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you know, the bar's low. Yeah, we're saying this is a good performance based on what we've had. So what we've had has been so bad that this, okay, it wasn't great, but it's so much better than what we've seen. So, you know, we just got to take small steps. You know, we've got to, you know, take the positives from today. There were a few. And just move on to the next game. Absolutely. Because we've got to accept that we're not where we want to be right now. We're at where we're at because that's the level right now, and it's up to Potter, it's up to the players to improve the level and get back to the level that we know as a football club that we need to perform at. And you know, yeah, okay, it wasn't great, it wasn't, you know, amazing, but the 3 points is the most important thing, and we just got to move on to the next one, take it game by game, and hope, you know, that the performances can improve.
Absolutely. We started with a 4 at the back. That's what me and you thought we were going to do to begin with. But I am still surprised that, you know, I mean, it's an attacking formation. We've struggled with it in the past. We managed to get a clean sheet. Can you see us still continue with that formation, or are we going to try and switch it around a few times?
I don't know. It's difficult. I think Potter, you know, obviously at Brighton, you know, he built himself on that back 3 system, but I think now at Chelsea, I think the back 4, we're using it partly because of personnel that we've got available, partly because I think he does eventually want to transition to that. Once we address the defensive midfield position, then I think you'll see us permanently or much more frequently play that back 4. But I think it's really important that we can also be flexible between different systems. There's no point just being rigid in one system. You've got to be able to play different systems, because let's be honest, no real top teams play 3 at the back. And I think it's kind of been worked out. Yes, you know, it works to a degree and it can work in one-off games. So I think to consistently play 3 at the back, it's no top teams do it, and I think there's a reason for it. So you've got to become flexible in more than one system. So, you know, whilst we might start in a 4, you know, we can switch to a 3 and vice versa. And I think that tactical fluidity and that flexibility is really important, and it's a hallmark of a good side. So if we can actually, you know, get that fixed into place where we can be comfortable in multiple systems and interchange between them during a game, I think that's going to make a massive difference for us.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about the defensive midfield role, how that's going to help us basically keep in that attacking formation with 4 at the back. We've been linked with Declan Rice. Obviously, Jorginho still needs to extend his contract. You know, there's a bit of a debate within the fan base. What's your stance on the Jorginho situation?
I think he's done really well. I think he gets a hard time, and you know what his limitations are for sure. You know, if you want quick play through the midfield and transitions, he's not your guy. But if you want someone to dictate the tempo of the game, just sit at the bottom of that midfield, get the ball from the defenders, play it forward, whatever needs to be. I think he does a good job. And depending on what players we bring in the midfield, say we get Declan Rice, say we might dream if we get Jude Bellingham as well, or whoever comes in that midfield area. It depends who comes in for me, because if we get 1 or 2, then I think it's worth keeping him, even if it's just in a squad role, because I think he can play a really important role. There's not many players like him with his skill set, and to let him go on a free we might regret it, depending on who we bring in though. And ultimately, it's got to be down to him. Does he want to stay as well? If he fancies a challenge, there's no point. And I say it time and time again, I don't care how good you are. If you don't want to play for this football club, you need to leave. So it depends on those 2 things basically for me. But I think he's definitely worth keeping about.
I can just visualise him and Rice rotating throughout the season. I mean, it would just be perfect, because Rice, he's got a player who's going to shoot more. But as I said, when you want to solidify a game, either of those players will work perfectly. And Jorginho, there's nobody like him. I can't think of a single player out there that can do what Jorginho does the way he does it. It's like Giroud. You know, we've got a diamond, but we just don't realise it.
Yeah, and I think as well, you've got to be honest. All right, let's be real. Declan Rice is probably going to come in the summer. Yeah, okay, I think that'll be a great signing. But we play so many matches. you know, in all competitions. You know, the games are every sort of 3 days. He's not going to play every single game, so you need capable replacements in there as well. And there isn't many better out there than Jorginho. So I think, in terms of valuable member of the squad, you might as well keep him about if he wants to stay.
What about the Reece James situation? How are we going to manage that?
Oh, that's the only disappointment from today. I mean, me and you were saying beforehand, I personally wouldn't have started him today. But I'm not saying, you know, the reason he got injured is because he started, because let's be honest, he could have come on after an hour and he could have got injured anyway. So, like, I'm not saying the reason he got injured wasn't because he started, but I felt it was a little bit perhaps of an unnecessary gamble. You know, you've got Bournemouth at home. He's played 50 minutes of a behind closed doors game against Brentford at Cobham. It's not the same intensity as the Premier League. Graham Potter's spoken before the game about how you've got to build his minutes up, and the Premier League's not the ideal place to do it. And then he goes straight back into the starting 11, and he picks up another injury. I think you've got to, it's because he's so important to the team. I can understand why he goes straight back into the lineup when he's fit, but we've got to manage people's minutes. Otherwise, we're in danger, and this might be a little bit extreme, but we're in danger of going down a Kante situation with Reece James, where we don't allow him to fully recover. He comes back, he plays, he gets injured, and he's out for a few more weeks. And we don't want to go into that situation. I'd much rather us just wait an extra couple of weeks and then to make sure everything's all right, or just err on a side of caution rather than rush him back. And now he's picked up another injury, and he's our most important player, and we're fucked, basically.
Yeah. I mean, just to finish off, going into Nottingham Forest, I mean, Reece James is a massive miss, but we should be winning that game comfortably still, right?
You say that, mate, but right now I don't take any games as comfortable for us. You know, it's going to be really tricky. Forest are going to be bang up for it. First game of the new year at a pretty sold-out ground. They've done pretty well at home as well. You know, they've beaten Liverpool at the City ground. So, you know, that's going to be really tough. It'll be an intimidating atmosphere. Hopefully, maybe Kovacic and Ziyech might be back. We'll have a few more players back from injury. Maybe Loftus-Cheek as well, just to bolster that midfield out. But that's going to be really tough as well. And, you know, there's no easy games for us right now. We've just got to take it one game at a time and just hope that, you know, week by week we just get a little bit better, because we've got a massive January coming up. We've got City twice. We're playing Liverpool. We've got to get as many points on the board as we possibly can before we head into that tricky fixture list in January. But, you know, stay positive, but things have got to improve. But ultimately for me, at this point in time, it's always points over performance for me.
Thank you, mate. All the best.